So today I'm going to teach you how to crochet to look like it's knitted. I just want to talk about hook size really quick before we get started. You can really get away with using a bigger hook than your yarn recommends with this stitch. So the yarn I used for this required a 3mm hook, but down here for the body of this particular like prototype of this sweater I made, I actually used a 5mm hook, and it's not even remotely see-through. So just keep that in mind when you're kind of choosing how to do this stitch, that it is a lot easier to use a bigger hook than your yarn recommends, and it's still not see-through. So yeah, just keep that in mind for when you're using the stitch. And then just one more thing before I actually show you how to do it is this is worked in the round. So to actually get these like kind of perfect knit stitches that all line up correctly, you do have to work in the round. When you work flat back and forth, the V's, I guess this is kind of upside down, the V's don't match up correctly. So it still looks like a cool pattern, but the color work doesn't work as well. So I am still going to show you how to do both in this video, but just as a note, that's like kind of the difference. So this example is going to be working it in the round, and then later on in this video I'll show you how to work it flat going back and forth. But just chain how many long you want your round to be. This is just an example, so I'm doing about 20 chains. And then I'm going to come back around and I'm just going to single crochet into every chain. So one thing to note when you're doing this base single crochet row is that when you're doing your single crochets, let me get my yarn all untangled, there we go. When you're doing your single crochets, right, you're going to pull up a little bit more than usual with your second loop, right? So you're going to go in, yarn over, and pull up just a little bit more than usual. That's where we're going to end up working the waistcoat stitch, that second loop. So you just want to make it looser so it's easier to get your hook into. So just normal single crochet, pulling up a little bit extra all around your first row. So I'll meet you back when I'm done. Okay, so I'm back at the beginning of my row, so now we're actually going to start working the waistcoat stitch. So the way the waistcoat stitch works is instead of going into this part of the single crochet, you're going into the V, right? So I'm just going to hook in to this and then do the same kind of single crochet we've been doing when you're pulling up a little bit extra. And so this first row of your waistcoat stitch is going to be the hardest because you're working off a foundation chain. If you want to do a few rows of just normal single crochet at the beginning, that might help. It's not really a big deal. But again, I'll just show you how we're doing it. All the way around, I am just going into this V, right? This is where the normal single crochet would go. Instead, I'm going into this V and then doing a single crochet. So I'm also going to show you the second round because it makes a lot more sense. So stay tuned. So I'm back at the beginning of my round. I'm about to start row 2. I just wanted to show you how much easier it is to see the V's now that you're not working with the foundation chain, right? So I'm just going to show you one more time, just kind of hooking in, pulling up, and keep going. Okay, so that's how to work it in a foundation chain in the round. So now I'm going to show you how to increase, decrease, and color change. So first off, the increase, it's pretty simple, very similar to a single crochet increase. So what you're going to do is you're going to go into the V, pull up, normal single crochet, and then you're going to go back into the very same V. So you're just going to hook in again like that. And then there's your increase. You see we have 2 waistcoat stitches in 1. So now I'm going to show you how to decrease. So again, very similar to a single crochet decrease. So I'm going into my V, pulling up, right? And then I'm not closing that single crochet yet. I'm going back into the next V, pulling up, and now I have 3 loops on my hook, yarning over and pulling through, just like that. So I'll show you again, going into this V, into the next V, and then pulling through all 3 loops. And I'm also going to show you how to go on the next row into these decreases, so stay tuned for a second. Okay, so I've gone up a row, I'm back at my decrease, so I'm just going to show you how to insert into this. So you're going to insert kind of 2 loops converging here, 2 V's. So you want to go into this V, right? But you also want to go in and grab that second V and go in like that. And then you're just going to normal waistcoat stitch. Okay, so I'm going to show you again. Gonna go in to this V, right? And then you're also gonna go into the other V that both converged to be here. And then you're just gonna go like that. So that's how to crochet back into those decreases. Okay. And next I'm gonna show you how to color change. So to start with a new color, here's how you're gonna do it. You're gonna go into the V, right? Normal waistcoat stitch. You're not gonna close it off, right? Instead, you're gonna tie on your yarn. I usually just kind of tie a knot. If you wanna do a magic knot or some other way of connecting yarn, go for it. But I just tie on my yarn, and then I slide the knot. It's still pretty loose. I slide the knot all the way as much as I can down and then tighten it. And then I'm gonna finish off this stitch with the new color, just like that. See, now I have a perfect waistcoat stitch, and I also am about to start a next one with my brown. So I would just go in, do a waistcoat stitch of brown. Waistcoat stitch of brown. I'm gonna do 2 of them, and then I'm gonna switch again just to show you how it would work without tying on. So this is my second one. I'm not finishing this stitch yet, right? I'm gonna take my kind of tan color, and instead of pulling through with my dark brown, I'm gonna finish this with my white. So now if you want to carry your yarn, you can, again, it's kind of a matter of preference. I don't like carrying my floats more than like 5 stitches without picking them up. So I'm going to show you what that means. For example, if I'm doing, say, 10 waistcoat stitches of this tan color, I don't want just this floppy string going all the way around, right? So it kind of depends on where you are, how lazy you are. I don't like going more than 5 stitches, but I'll just show you what carrying your float means. I'm going to insert into here, right? And then I'm going to take my brown and also lay it on top like this, and then I'm going to do a waistcoat stitch. So if you look on the back, it's nice and tight against your work. You don't want to pull it like tight, you just want it flat. If you pull it too tight, then you won't have any stretch to your garment. So just when you're carrying your floats, I'll just show you how to do it again. You go in, you make sure your brown is laying on top, and then pull up like this. Okay, and there you go. That's how to color change and carry your floats. One note before I start showing you how to work it flat. I said earlier in the video, with the working in the round, you could get away with a bigger crochet hook. You can't with working it flat. It just doesn't work up the same way. So this is using a 4.5 hook meant for like a 3mm yarn, and you can kind of see how holy it is compared to the earlier one I showed you where it's worked in the round. Okay, so just as a note. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to work it flat. So just as a reminder, this is what it looks like with all these kind of V's. So you're going to start it with a single crochet. Nope, that is a slip stitch. You're going to start it with a slip stitch. And you're just going to chain however many you want. I'm gonna go like 10. Okay. Okay, I have no idea how many that was, but we're gonna call it a day. So you're gonna skip the first loop from the chain and go into the second one, and you're gonna do a normal single crochet, but when you have your second loop on your Jesus, I can't talk today, you are just gonna pull up a little bit longer than normal. So I'll just show you again what I mean. I'm going in, I'm yarning over and pulling up a loop, but I'm pulling up a little bit more than usual, like nothing crazy, just that's where we're eventually gonna work our waistcoat stitch. So I just want to make sure that I have a nice open place to go into. So I'm just gonna keep doing this normal single crochets all the way down, and I'll see you at the end of the row. Okay, so I just finished the first row of normal single crochets, just pulling up a little bit extra. So I'm gonna chain one and turn my work. So here's where we get a little bit funky fresh. So normally this is where I would go into as a single crochet, right? How the waistcoat stitch works is instead I'm gonna go into this kind of upside down V that kind of makes up the post of the single crochet. So like normally you'd go in here, so I'm going into the post. Normally I'm doing here, so I'm going into the post. But I do just want to show you really quick an important thing. So on the front side of your work, or I guess the part of your work that's not facing you, because it's going to obviously switch back and forth as you're turning your work. So the part that's not facing you is going to have these V's, okay? And then the part that is facing you is going to have upside down V's. So when I insert my hook, right, I'm not going in here, I'm instead going in between these kind of upside down V thing. I'm going to go into my upside down V, but I want to make sure I'm coming out with my regular V in the front, okay? And then I'm just single crocheting, pulling up a little bit more than usual. So I'll show you that again. I'm going into this upside down V, and you can kind of feel where it's supposed to be coming out, and you see I'm coming out where the normal V is on the other side. So if you look on the other side of my work, right, let me actually get it laid out for you. I'm going into these V's. So that's what you're gonna do the whole way down. You're just kind of going into the V, upside down V, coming out the normal V, and then pulling up, and then just one more time I'll show you what not to do, like a common mistake. So sometimes I see, like, or like honestly I do this, I'll go into the upside down V this way, but I won't come out the other side, right? I'll come out not in the V. So this is the V where I want my hook to come out of. So that's an example of like what not to do. So instead I want my hook to come out here, okay? So just do that. I will show you the last one of the row really quick though, so stay tuned. It's kind of hard to figure out, so just hang on one sec. Okay, I'm at the end of my row. I have 2 stitches left, and you can tell because if you're gonna single crochet, just normally you do one here and one here. So that's how you can kind of keep track. And so I'm just gonna show you, it's a little bit tricky at the end of the row. So the second to last one, again, I'm just gonna do what I've been normally doing, going in the upside down V and out the normal V. And now you can kind of see, you're like, well, where is the upside down V that I'm trying to get to now? So what you're gonna do is you kind of just make up a stitch. So this one is the hardest because it's the foundation row. So like, don't stress. I'll show you another example in the next row that makes it way easier. So just kind of throw a stitch somewhere over here, just a normal single crochet, just as like a placeholder, okay? And then I'll show you on the next round at the end what to do normally, so stay tuned. Okay, So I'm at the end of my round. I have 2 stitches left. Again, I can tell because if I were normal single crocheting, I'd go in here and I'd go in here. So I'm gonna do my second to last stitch. Just gonna go into my V, normal single crochet. And here's where we get a little bit funky. You see this kind of place where you'd normally put your crochet hook in to do a single crochet. I'm just gonna pull this over, this loop right here over, right? So right now we kind of have a V, an actual V working. I'm just gonna pull it over and then insert my hook and then pull up a loop. So your last stitch is always gonna be kind of worked in over your chain, if that makes sense. So I would very highly recommend always counting after each round of this, just because it's very easy to lose a stitch over here because you can't see them very easily. So yeah, that's how to work it flat. That's about it.